Hey, what's up, man?
Hello, Johnny. How are
How
you
you
doing?
doing? Dude, I like the hair you got going there. It looks good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I think my dad was like, "Is that Michael Langhi?" He didn't recognize you because you always had it really short when you competed, I felt. It
Yeah, that's
works.
true.
It
That's
works. It
true.
looks good.
Try to
Man,
trim a little bit.
yeah. How's everything going by you? How's just the whole experience been?
Man, everything is good, you know. Of course, you know, the academy is closed right now. So,
Hmm.
but man, if you think I cannot complain because we are in a good situation, you know, if you want to compare with million people around the world, you know.
Hmm.
But at the same time, you know, I'm a little bit upset because I'm not able to do what I love most, you know,
Yeah.
teach and train jiu-jitsu. But man, it's part of the game. You know, life goes on, and yeah, man, we have to try to get out of the situation better than before. You know, that's what I think.
Yeah, of course. That's one thing I've picked up on. For me, I realized that training was so much of my life that the first few days when it all happened, I really didn't know what to do. What have been some things you've been kind of working on or doing while the gym has been closed?
You
What's
know,
kind of yeah.
yeah, for me, man, it's a little bit different. I'm not like a competitor anymore. You know, I just retired last year, so now I just want to put all my energy in the academy just to run the business. You know, so now in my position, I'm full time. You know, trying, you know, keep the academy going in a better situation. You know, it's not easy because we just can't teach, you know, like a lives or by using the Zoom.
Hmm.
So just virtual class is not the same, of course, but that's what I can do right now. You know, like most of the people, they are doing, you know, the same thing. And yeah, man, let's see right after that. But one important thing you said is for us, jiu-jitsu is our life, you know. But man, I
Hmm.
just received a lot of message from my student, you know, like a regular people just training in academy, and they are, you know, send me a message and saying how important is jiu-jitsu on their lives, you know. I think, you know, we cannot say that it was good, but if you can learn, you know, like a lesson from all those situations is for, you know, like a few people is jiu-jitsu is like very very important, you know. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't think I realized that quite as much until this whole thing happened. Where, for me, for us, training, competing, and teaching for you is our job. It's our life. But we also forget how it makes me feel better when I train. I deal with outside anxiety in life. There's a lot of things, especially now, that I realize having that training and having that outlet is so important. So
That
I think I can imagine a lot of your students feel like that. It's like having training and having jiu-jitsu just gives you this calm it's kind of hard to explain, but it's kind of like therapy to a lot of people. And maybe when I would compete or I'm training for a competition, I'm not thinking of it like that. But when I see it without anything, with just the bare bones, I really do see it like that a lot more now.
Yeah, definitely it is, man. You know, as I said, you know, for you that's a job, but for a lot of people, man, it's just like they go there, you know, just to have a fun, just to enjoy, you know, like after a really hard day, you know, in their jobs, you know, man, it's a hard situation, but as I said, man, life goes on. We have to try, you know, like learn something from all those situations. You know?
Yeah. I saw you guys. You were kind of like trying to set up the gym for when it opens again. Do you have any idea when that could happen? Is there any timetable on that?
Man, no, I don't. Actually, we have like a phase here. You know, the all the academy here in São Paulo gonna open the phase number 4,
Hmm.
but we don't know. You know exactly what is the date. You know, we are just waiting for, you know, day by day. But man, what you can realize here in Brazil, you know, is not, you know, the virus anymore. You know, it's not about health. It's not about people, but it's about like a power. You know, so that's the man. It's complicated, and we are, you know, like upset because we can realize that man, they don't. don't try to do anything to get better, you know, all those situations. They just want to take advantage and, you know, fight just to get more power and all this stuff, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like it's tough. It's a tough situation overall. Man, I wanted to ask, like, how is retirement life going for you? How is not getting ready for competitions? How is being a full-time instructor? What has been kind of like the biggest change for you and kind of that process? You know, I'm curious.
Jenny, man, what can I say? You know, it's not easy. You know, it's a really hard situation because that's what I love to do. You know, most of my life. You know, I competed since I was like a. I started. I was 17 years old, and 3 months after that, I just I fought my first competition. You know, so I lived all those situations. You know, like a really intensity, and it's not easy to stop, but
Yeah,
we need to understand that we have like a priorities in our life, you know.
yeah,
So man, I tried my best as athlete, you know, and then as instructor too, but there is one point on our lives that we have to think, man, what's my priority right now? You know, what I want to do, you know, in 5 years and 10 years. And of course, if I couldn't, you know, like I stay competing, you know, like a year and year, of course I would like to do it. But man, I have my family, I have my students, and my students need more myself than I need another world title. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah, man, it was time to stop, you know, run the business, thinking about my student, try to support my guys, you know, achieve their dreams, you know. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. You know?
Yeah. Was it just hard to find that balance between being an instructor and competing at the same time? That's something that I always felt like would be a struggle for me because when I train, I'm so focused on training and getting ready to compete, where it's hard to find that balance between, you know, both jobs there.
Of course it is, man. It's really hard, but it's not impossible. We
Yeah.
can see, you know, like a Cobrinha, he did it for so long, Lucas Lepre, Marcelo, and even myself, you know. But once again, it's not easy because you have to put your energy, you know, in your train, and at the same time you have to push your student, you know, like try to answer all the question, and that this is the toughest part, you know. I mean, sometimes you are so hard, you know, after a really hard train, and then few students just want to, you know, like ask something, you know, and you have to answer, man. You have to be there, you know,
Yeah.
for the students, you know. So that's the thing. But man, it's hard, but once again, it's not impossible.
Yeah, I guess it's a different situation for everybody. You know, maybe it's easier for some people than it is for others based on like circumstance or you know just your situation. How long have you been teaching full time in Sao Paulo now?
Actually, I moved to United States 2011, but I just got
Okay.
like a trouble with my visa, and I
Hmm.
came back to Brazil, and I started to teach in Alliance headquarter in, I think, 2013. You know,
Okay.
just as like a regular instructor. But in 2014, I supposed to go to United States once again to open an academy with Cobrinha. And when I started a conversation with Fabio about that, he told me, man, I need you here. So, man, I just want to make a plan for you to stay here and make your business here with me. I thought, man, if I can make money in Sao Paulo, uh, of course it's good to me because, man, that's my country. Man, I can take my car, drive like a 2 hours and a half, and kiss my mother, talk about my with my dad, and man, it's better than I move to another country and then come to Brazil like once, twice per year. So in that time, I thought, man, that's a better choice to me, and it was, man, because now, as you know, I'm like a partner of the business. You know, I'm running the school, and man, my life is really good here in Brazil. You know? I
Yeah.
cannot complain.
No, that's awesome. Kind of being able to be around family. You know, you want to move to California. There's opportunities in the U.S., but also at the same time, I can imagine it'd be hard to move so far away from your family as well. So you have everything there as well. It sounds like.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, man. If I need to go to United States, man, it's pretty nice too. You know, I love this country so much. You know, and there's a lot of jiu-jitsu in there. You know, it's good for the business. But I mean, man, if I can make money in my country, man,
Hmm.
it's amazing. It's fantastic. You know,
Yeah.
10 years ago, 20 years ago, we couldn't see, you know, this possibility to stay in Brazil and make money in Brazil, you know, through the jiu-jitsu. So that's what I mean. You know, man, if I can stay here, make money, and at the same time enjoy my country, man, it's a good deal, I think.
That's awesome. What has been like some of the biggest adjustments to being like a full-time coach? How is your day-to-day kind of changed? What
Man,
or kind of what's the routine like pretty much?
yes, I started my day, you know, 8 a.m. with a private class, and 10 a.m. is a competition class. I train every single day. You know, jiu-jitsu is my life. That's what I like to do. You know, I just retired from the competition, but I didn't retire from the jiu-jitsu. So I train every single day. And then I go to my home, you know, have a lunch, relax a little bit, and then I go to do some like a weightlifting, and I go back to the gym again 6 p.m. and I teach 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and 8 p.m. And I finish my day about like at 10 p.m. You know,
Yeah.
once again, it's not easy because I have to teach, I have to train, at the same time I have to run the business. You know, I have to take care about the back office too. You know, and man, it's not easy, but it's part of the game. You have to work. You know, as I want to work as much as I can now, and enjoy the future. You know, that's what Fabio did, and man, he's like a good mentor, and he taught me a lot of things, and that's what I'm trying to do. You know, like I try to work as much as I can right now, and in the future, relax a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny with going to Fabio a little bit. I never had a really experience to like learn from him. I don't get a chance to speak to him too much either. But I remember he came to Marcelo's for like his final like seminar tour that he did, and I went to the seminar that he did, and I thought it was amazing. He's an amazing instructor and very like easy to understand, easy to talk to. Before I joined Alliance, I used to be so intimidated by him. Just his voice and like his presence always kind of intimidated me. But being around him, it was so easy to learn from him. Now that you kind of transition into a full-time coach, what were some of the things that he would be telling you about that transition? Where there's things that you picked up from him?
Man, Fabio, he's a visionary. You know, he can see like 10 years ahead, easy. You know, and one thing he told me was, Langhi, you are doing a great job as an athlete, but you have to thinking about your future. You know, if you want to be a good athlete, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be a good instructor.
Yeah.
If you want to put all your energy to be a good instructor, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be a good like a mentor. You know, so in all those situations, you know, we have to develop some like skills. You know, and what can I say to you, Jenny? When we are an athlete, we are like a self-wish. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
just thinking about, I just thinking about myself. I just wanna do the better train for me. I just gonna eat, you know, like a health food. I cannot eat like a junk food because I get a fight. Sometimes my wife said, "Hey, let's hang out or to do something." I cannot do it because I have to rest, and then I gotta train in the day after. So we are self-wish, you know. And when you gonna when you are an instructor, for example, it means that you have to give more than you have to receive from the people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Hmm.
the train is not the best for you. It's the best for the group. It's the best for the team. You
Yeah.
know. So we have to thinking about in people's life and forget about yourself a little bit. You know. So this is this is it was the biggest difference that I could realize when I started to teach jiu-jitsu and then when I start to manage the academy. Yeah, man, but he just teach me, how important is you try to be your best version in all those situations, you know, as an athlete, as an instructor, and a mentor.
And actually, when you mentioned it, I'm really curious about this. Like sometimes I'll train with lower belts, and they'll ask me questions after, and it's funny. I'm not really thinking about what they're like. Oh, what did I do wrong? And I don't have a good answer for them because I'm thinking a lot about myself. I'm thinking about what I'm doing. I feel bad because I'm like, oh, tell me next time. I'll give you an answer. I mean, so you're training it, and you'll do the competition class every day, but I can imagine that your training goals are different. Is your thought process very different when you're training, or are you still like spending time focusing on yourself? Say when you're training with your students now, do you have a different mindset?
I think it's still because, man, it's part of the human being, you know. We have to think about in us too, you know. Of course, when I'm
Yeah.
gonna train, you know, that is my time, you know. I just want to train for myself. Uh, but right after that, you know, if some like a student, he just have a question, I have to be there, you know. That's what I mean. You know, during the
Yeah.
train, we're gonna train and I'm gonna thinking about myself. But right after that, I'm not like Michael Langhi anymore, the athlete. You know, I'm the instructor. So I have to be there with the guys, you know, and yeah, we have to try to figure their problems, you know, but sometimes it's not easy, you know, it's not easy.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. I can imagine it's probably easier just to look from the outside and find mistakes, but when we're in it, it's such a natural instinct for us to focus on our game and what we're doing.
It takes a lot of time, man. It's not easy to change, man.
Do you feel like your I mean, I'll ask about teaching as well, but do you feel like your game has changed much over the last year, teaching more? Do you find yourself experimenting more and doing different things?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely, man. You know, everybody knows about myself as a good guard player, you know, and that's what I like to do. But, you know, to be honest, today I prefer, you know, play on top. You know, my top game is doing really good. But once again, the guard is my comfort zone. You know, so if you say to me, "Hey, Langhi, you are on the finals. You know, World Championship, you are on the finals. So we can choose. You know, which situation you're gonna start. Of course, I'm gonna pick. You know, like a guard. You know, that's my comfort zone. But in the academy, man, I think my top game a little bit more like aggressive than my guard. You know, most of the people say, "Hey, Langhi, man, your top game is much better than your guard." But once again, man, the guard is my comfort zone. When I, you know, like I grab the sleeve, you know, foot on the bicep, I think, man, I'm at home here, you know. I can do whatever I want and stay here for so long, you know.
yeah. I mean, I have other questions about that, but when you started mentioning your guard, it's like something that you're so known for. I remember coming up as a kid and being like, no one's passing that guy's guard. I'm like, what do you mean? How does that happen? You know, and I would watch, and I'd be like, oh wow, yeah, no one is passing that. What was kind of the development in that? Who was there kind of like a certain person that influenced you into a game like that, or was that something you kind of developed on your own? Can you tell me a little bit about how your guard game just became what it is?
Man, to be honest, I would like to say that I'm a talent, but it's not true, man. It's not true. I want to tell you the truth right now, you know. I trained capoeira before, so capoeira just helped me in a lot of aspects. You know, for example, the flexibility. And when I
Okay.
started training jiu-jitsu with Cobrinha, you know, he did a lot of spider guard in that time. You know, his game just changed a little bit, but his guard was insane too. And man, I started training with him, and I thought, man, I want to do it exactly as Cobrinha does. And the flexibility just helped me a lot. So it was like a natural to me, you know, like do like a spider, you know, and staying in situation that most of the people gonna think, man, it's like uncomfortable to me. But for Lang, it was like easy to stay there, you know, like for hours, you know.
Yeah.
So I think capoeira just gave me a good support, you know.
And, and and you say it took you time to develop that. It's not something that you just had like talent. It took a lot of persistent work. Would you just go into training being like having so let me ask you like just in general, would you go into training with kind of set goals like I'm going to work this today, I'm going to focus on this position or I'm going to try this today. So kind of based on that on your guard game still would you go in and be like okay, I really want to work on this specific, position or what was your kind of thought process for training mostly?
Yeah, I started with Cobrinha in São Carlos. That's my
Hmm.
hometown. It's 2 hours and a half from São Paulo. It's a small city. So I started training with him, and man, everybody knows Cobrinha. How insane he is about training. No, so he just pushed me, like so hard, man, so hard. And man, what can I say? January 1st, I was trained. I was on the mat doing like a hip skate, 1 hour just hip skate. And man,
Yeah.
I never like asked it to myself, and man, why I'm doing this shit, like man, crazy. Man, I just trust in the process, so
Yeah.
if Cobrinha says to me, man, we have to do this or have to do that, man, let's go. I just did it, and I think that's the most important thing. Of course, the train is a important part of the game, but you have to trust in your mentor. When
Yeah.
Marcel says to you, man, hey Johnny, you have to do this. You don't need to ask to yourself, oh, man, maybe I have to do this or I have to do that. Man, just close your eyes and go and trust the process. That's what I did.
Yeah. Was there ever anything that you would have to like question, like, hey, what is the reason for doing this? Did you ever need like clarification, or was that something that you believed in him so much that you would just
Yeah.
yeah,
When he told me, man, do this. If we stop for a while and ask to yourself, why I have to do this? We just waste like 10 seconds. And you're
yeah,
supposed to be trained, so that's the
yeah,
thing. Don't ask for yourself, And one thing that I'm so proud, Johnny, is no one needs to tell to me, hey, Langhi, you have to train more, man. You have to train a little bit more. Never, never ever. So that's one thing that I'm proud. I know what I have to do to win.
yeah,
And most of the people today say, hey, Langhi, man, I'm training so hard, but man, I can't like win the world championship, for example. But man, train so hard that's what I have to do, man. That's one thing that you have to do, man. Have to train hard. And there's like a lot of things, you have to eat healthy. You have to take care about your shape. You have to go to the physical, and there's a lot of things to do. You train hard is not enough today. You have to give 110%. 100% is not enough anymore.
yeah. So I guess to clarify, like you would say that Cobrinha would be your biggest influence on your work ethic and how you would approach training and everything, right?
Yeah, he is. But there's another one, I love to talking about this guy, I'm a big fan, Romulo Barral,
Hmm.
because my game, my Sparta guard is I'm gonna control the both sleeve and then I'm ready to go. And Barral's game, he likes to play collar and sleeve. So I was watching, like some videos, and I realized that man, that position is good to me. Like I have to release the sleeve, but it's not a problem. I gotta control the collar. I can break the posture, control the distance, and Romulo just helped me a lot too. His game is amazing. He's quite a guard, so he's a big influence to me too.
That's awesome. Was that work ethic always there, or was that something that kind of had to be instilled after time? Like I mean, like was it something like you started with Cobrinha in the beginning, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that work ethic always there, or was it something that he kind of had to push you into later on? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. What happened is I just met Cobrinha in Capoeira. We trained
Okay.
Capoeira
Okay.
together. I started Capoeira, he was instructor, and I look at that guy, he was the best in my Capoeira group, And I looked at that guy and I told to myself, man, I want to be like this man. Because, I just could see, his hard work, like every single day. And then I thought to myself, man, I just want to follow this guy. And
Yeah.
when he started training jiu-jitsu, he just invited me to be part of the class. Man, I thought, man, I love capoeira so much, but man, he's a big influence on me. So man, if he's doing capoeira, I think there's some good in there. I go check this out. I had my first jiu-jitsu class. It was amazing. and I stopped with capoeira and put all my energy in jiu-jitsu. And when I started jiu-jitsu with Cobrinha, and remember, I just had like a big influence in capoeira. So in jiu-jitsu, it was easier to me, when he said to me, have to push this wall for 1 hour. Man, I just trust that guy in capoeira. So man,
Yeah.
that's what I mean, that I didn't ask to myself, man, I should do this or not. Man, I just did it. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean, Cobrinha, man, he's my first mentor. He's my friend. He's like my dad, man. If I'm here today, it's because of him.
That's awesome. I can imagine that just kind of maybe he wouldn't even have to say anything to push you, but just almost seeing his work ethic and seeing the results that would come with that work ethic that would motivate you to kind of follow in his lead. So it's not even like a said thing that would motivate you, but it was just him following by example, right?
Definitely, because man, if I say to you, hey Johnny, the train today you have to do 10 rounds of 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and I take a sit, cross my arms, and stay like enjoying, like checking my cell phone, you're gonna say, man, 10 rounds of 10 minutes? Is it possible? But if I say, Gianni, today the train is 10 rounds of 10 minutes. We're gonna train together. Let's do it. I'm gonna show you for you that it's possible. Man, it's totally different.
Yeah.
And what I realized, it was Cobrinha said, Langhi, you have to do 10 rounds. He did it 11, 12,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit
Yeah. Yeah.
more
Yeah.
just to prove that everything is possible.
Yeah, I think I heard something from him saying that. I was like, I was at his gym once and I asked how he was able to continue competing and he was able to continue, training hard like he was, even as he started getting older too. And he just said it was just like a way to motivate his students so that he would have his way of speaking and teaching that would be one way of influencing his students and bettering his students, but also having that motivational side and kind of just putting in the work himself. So that kind of sounds like what you do now as an instructor. Like you train the competition class every day. It could be very easy. You teach a lot. It sounds like your schedule is huge, but you almost do that competition class. First of all, we want to train. You want to train, of course, but it's also got to be a good for your students to see as well. To see like, man, this guy has won so much. This guy could easily be sitting on the side on his cell phone if he wants to, but you choose to like be a set an example for the students.
Yeah, and that's the way I learned. So it's simple to me. It's natural. No, I don't need to train like, I have to train because I have to prove something. I have to be like a mirror for my students. I just want to train, of course. Once again, when you do, the effect is like better than when you just say something. But man, I train because I love, because I
Mm-hmm.
like, and because I think that that's what I have to do. But yeah, that's the way I learned, and I think that's natural to me.
Yeah. Or maybe it's also for that comeback. Right? I feel
Why
like
not?
I feel like retirement in jiu-jitsu, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it doesn't seem so real. You see a
We
lot of
cannot believe.
guys.
Yeah, we cannot believe. But I mean, Johnny, I cannot say for you, man. Oh, I never want to fight anymore. And maybe next year I just decide to fight, and I'm gonna say, hey, man, Lang is crazy. But for now, my focus on the academy. You know,
Yeah.
like a regular competition, IBJJF competition, I don't feel like, like I don't feel like pleasure to fight anymore. But man, a super
Mm.
fight, man, if I think that makes sense, that fight, man, why not? Just one
Yeah.
fight. It's better to prepare yourself for one fight.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm 35 years old. Of course, man, I'm healthy. I take care about my health. I train every single day, do some like a weightlifting. But I have like a 5 surgery already. So I feel pain every single day. So when I wake up and then I'm gonna stretch myself and I don't feel pain, I call to my doctor and say, hey man, there is something wrong. You know?
Yeah.
So man, my body, didn't answer anymore. Sometimes my mind knows what to do, but my body says, hey man, take how can I say this? Take it easy, you
Slow it
know?
down. Yeah.
Yeah, slow down. But I mean, you know, one super fight, why not, man? Let's see what's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Do you feel like towards the end of your career, it was more of a challenge to be motivated to compete in like IBJJF tournaments, like Brasileiros and Worlds? Because especially since the sport is growing more, we see more opportunity for like super fights that have money involved. I can imagine that maybe this is just my opinion, but it would be a little demotivating sometimes to maybe win a black belt world title and see like no money coming in for that. You can get seminars and everything, but it's through other opportunities. Was that ever kind of like, man, was there ever kind of a moment like, man, what am I doing with this? Sometimes like no disrespect to IBJJF, but sometimes I could imagine that being a little bit of a mental struggle.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you were doing, what you were saying, you know. But you know, I never fought, you know, because the money, and I'm not a rich guy, you know. It's not this point.
Yeah,
But I just fought for the title, you know, for the legacy,
yeah,
just to
yeah.
build something. But one day, you know, 2010, I just had like a shoulder problem, and I
Mm.
supposed to do a surgery, you know, 2 months before the words. I talked with my doctor. He told me, Langhi, we have to go to the surgery. But man, how I feel? Are you okay? Go to the competition, and then we're gonna fix our problem after that. I thought, yes, man, I'm gonna do it. I went there. You know, I had like a 5 tough mats. I won the words. When I came back to Brazil, you know, I had the surgery. I had to pay 12,000 reais for the surgery. I had no money in that time, you know,
Yeah.
so I spent a money that I didn't have. And I went to the physiotherapy, to the physio, you know, in the bus with my arm like this. And I thought, man, I'm 2 times black belt world champion and I have no money to pay the surgery. I have no
Yeah.
money to buy a car. You know, I have nothing, man. There's something wrong, you know. In 2010, I just started thinking about my future. What I have to do. Of course, I want to still competing. That's my life. I like to do it. But what I have to do, you know, just to build something in the future. And 2011, just moved to the United States because I just realized how important it is, you know, like you teach jiu-jitsu too, just to make money. In that time, you know, was like a harder than today. Today, there's a lot of competitions that pay good money, but I mean, in that time, it was not easy. And that's the reason I moved to United States 2011, you know, and of course, I just got some trouble over there and I came back to Brazil, you know, anyway, but I couldn't realize that, man, IBJJF competitions are the most important competitions around the world, but man, I have to do something to make money, you know.
Yeah.
And so I understand what you are saying, and I understand when people say, "Oh, I don't gonna fight this competition, then I'm gonna fight this one because this one gonna pay me
Mm.
good money," you know. But man, it's like option, you know. You know, my decision was fight for the titles, for my legacy.
Mm.
There's some people that fight both, and there's some people that just thinking about money, you know. But
Yeah.
you know,
So that experience after Worlds kind of planted that seed in your mind that like, okay, I want to continue to compete, but I also need to think ahead towards the future as well. That kind of like made you realize I need to do more than just, compete. Obviously, I
yeah,
guess I guess it kind of comes from my experience. Like I still sign up for the local IBJJF. I love to compete as well. I don't like to say that I do it for the money, but I guess my experience was one year me and Marcos Tinoco, we were like we were kind of high in the rankings. We were like in the 30s or 20s or something. And we said, man, by Worlds, let's get into the top 10. Let's go to all the tournaments. Let's just make that a goal, something to kind of shoot for. I remember we went everywhere. We went to, all the majors, Europeans, Pans, Brasileiros, Worlds. We went to all the local tournaments. We did everything. We traveled all over the place. And we made the top 10, both of us. We got number 9 and number 10. And I remember I just felt kind of dissatisfied because I went to all these tournaments, probably spent a lot of money on all these trips, and I came home with a plaque. you know, and I was like, this didn't feel like enough, you know, and I don't know. So that was my experience with that, where I was like, that was kind of my realization, like I need to do more. I should be doing more uh, to improve my situation, you know. Top 10 black belt, you know, I shouldn't be struggling, you know, like I
Uh,
was. So I don't know. That was my experience with that. Yeah.
I understand, and today that's my mind too. But you know, Johnny, if you asked to me like 5 years ago, you know, 7 years ago, hey Langhi, which would you like, you know, one more world title or $1 million in your bank account? I go with one more world title. You know, I don't need to thinking about that. I can
Even though
answer
you have
more
three.
like this. Yes, you know,
Hmm.
because man, some people gonna say, man, you are crazy, and yeah, man, I'm crazy, you know. But I live, you know, my competition life, you know, like so intensely, you know, so hard that man, it's crazy. You know, if
Yeah.
you ask me today, man, I gotta say, hey, man, give me the money because man, I don't need one more world title. But in that time, man, you know that you know it's hard to understand, you know, the people's mind. But yeah, man, you
Yeah.
know, the priorities change a little bit too. But in that time, you know, like 5 years ago, if you asked to me, man, if you wanted the title and the money, I go with the title, you know, easy.
Yeah. I mean, were you always competitive? Have you always been a very like competitively driven person, or was it something that? Well, you said you started competing almost as soon as you started training, right?
Yes, but I was like you know, competitive, you know, since I was a kid. You know, I just play a game with my brother. If he beat
Mm.
me up, I just wanna beat him up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's part of me. You know, and that's the reason that I just changed capoeira for jiu-jitsu, because in that time, you know, in jiu-jitsu, there was like a more competition. You know, in capoeira that there was not competition that time. So that's the reason I thought, man, I just want to put all my energy in jiu-jitsu because I can go there, I can compete, and then I can prove that my technique is good enough. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, and I don't mean to bounce around too much. Well, actually, I do want to ask, man, what happened with your brother Michel? He was so good. I was
Man,
hoping to see him. I was hoping to see him at black belt. I think he could have done really well. What happened?
that's the question. When I go to the seminars, to the competitions, that's the question that I answer most. You know,
Okay.
what happened with your brother? And Mauro was the master in São Carlos, you know, the Cobrinha's master. And Fábio Gurgel, same thing, you know, both say, hey Langhi, you are good, Cobrinha is good, but man, your brother, he was the best one. He was the best one.
Wow.
He was a talent. You know, I remember his first adult competition, he was 12 years old, and he won the state championship here in Sao Paulo. You
Yeah.
know, 12 years old. So, man, he was a talent. But, man, I don't talk with him too much about that, you know. But what I think is, he started training jiu-jitsu, he was like a 10 years old. And he was Cobrinha student. So Cobrinha pushed that guy, you know, like too much too, you know. And I think that when he got his black belt, he was 19 years old.
Wow.
You know, he won award twice as blue, once as purple, and once as bronze. And man, I think that he just trained so hard for so long that one day he thought, hey man, it's not fun anymore, you know.
Yeah.
So when he was kid, he's supposed to be, you know, he's supposed to be like playing around with his friends, you know, like a hangout, you know, just to see some girls. I don't know, man, actually, but I think he just, you know, like dedicate his life for jiu-jitsu for so long. One day he just wake up and said, hey man, it's not fun anymore, so I don't want to train anymore.
Yeah.
And man, I just respect. Of course, I was like upset because he was a talent, but man, once again, it's his decision. You know, we cannot
Yeah.
say, I cannot say for him, man, hey, you have to do this or I have to do that. You know, that his life. And today I'm happy. He's back to jiu-jitsu, not as a competitor anymore, but he's running the Alliance São Carlos in my hometown. He's doing a great job. He's teaching jiu-jitsu, and I'm happy. But at the same time, man, I wish to see this guy, you know, competing as black
Yeah.
belt. You know, his last competition was 2011 as brown belt. He never fought as black belt, but
Wow.
until now, a lot of people ask about him. You know, so
Yeah. I was so curious about that because he was always a belt above me and I was like a featherweight. So he was someone that I would always watch. Sometimes for me, when I was like blue purple, it was hard to watch the black belts and admire them because they seemed so far ahead. But for me, like watching him, like when I was a blue and he was a purple and I was a purple and he was a brown, he was someone that I was like, man, when I get to the next belt, he's going to be like the level of talent that I'll be facing and stuff like that. And so I was always really curious to see him a black belt, but it is important to be able to enjoy it. You know, it's like some people talk about like training, you know, and grinding through it, even when you're miserable. But I feel like that's very hard to continue on that path.
yeah, definitely. And then I remember in one world championship, you fought as purple and he fought as brown.
Yeah,
And during his fight, you just like I took a video of his fight. And
yeah,
I just look at that, and then right after the fight, I said, hey, Michelle, Gianni just took a video about your life, so prepare yourself, because in that time, you were like a big name, you know, in the lower belts. So
yeah.
I told to my brother, hey, man, prepare yourself because you're gonna fight against this guy, and he's really tough. So we have to start to train right after his win, you know.
Yeah.
You have to thinking about in that guy. You have to train and yeah.
That's
Now
I
you
remember that. I remember that. It's funny, but like for me, I was it was definitely more like filming as like a fan. You know, I really enjoyed watching him fight. You know, I really enjoyed watching you fight as well. It was so try like yeah, I kind of like to see like what the next belt was like. You know, I like to get the read, but it was definitely like filming more as a fan and kind of like studying more as like someone as like an admirer. I was hoping he would get his black belt so I didn't have to deal with that at brown belt.
Jenny, can I have a question, please?
Yeah.
I just talked with Bernardo, Thomas, and a lot of guys that just trained with you, and all of them just told to me, Langhi, you know, Cobrinha is crazy, but man, Gianni is the craziest guy that I saw in my life.
I know that's a
You
good
know,
thing.
I mean, man, this guy trained, you know, like every day, every single day, all time. And he lives in Marcelo Garcia's mat. You know, he goes there to the first train, you know, had a lunch, sleep on the mat, drill like all day, and then train at night. So what's your mindset, and more than your mindset, but what's your opinion about, you know, like the hard work that you put on your job, and who was your biggest influence in jiu-jitsu?
So honestly, it was my biggest influence was my dad. Not even he didn't do a day of jiu-jitsu in his life, but he was always a hard worker in everything he did. Like he was a triathlete. He did like the Ironman Hawaii. He did the Escape from Alcatraz. All these crazy triathlons where you do the run, bike, and swim. And I wasn't even born when he was doing all those, but I would hear stories about his work ethic. And at the same time, he still had a regular job, you know, but he would wake up at like 5 a.m. and ride the bike for, you know, hours. And he would go swimming after work, or I'm forgetting the schedule, but it was intense, you know, and he always kind of instilled like having a strong work ethic is the only way to get anywhere. Um, for me, another thing is like, you know, so he was my influence. But for me, it was always like just something I enjoyed. I really enjoyed working hard. You know, I always had like a sense of like satisfaction with myself when I put everything into the day. You know, that's what kind of like that. You know how you compete and you win, you get like that high. You feel really good. Like almost the day after training, I'd feel like, man, I put a good effort today. You know, I feel good about myself. So I was always just like, I wanted that high, and training a lot gave me that. And then also like my mindset, like going into competition, say, to be honest, I don't know if I needed to train as much as I did. I probably at some points did overtraining for sure. But for me, it was like a mindset of like, I wanted to do absolutely everything I could. So when I go into the competition, there's no doubt that I put all my effort into training. So I even admit now that like, yeah, I probably overdid it sometimes. I probably did too much. But at least I would go into a tournament and be like, there is no way anyone did more than me. There's no way I didn't cover all my bases. My motto is leave no stone unturned. So do everything that you can to be prepared. And that was always kind of my mindset, you know, and it still is. But yeah, those are the few things for me.
Yeah, that's what I believe too. You know, when you go to the competition, to win that competition, you have to deserve it, right? You
Yeah.
know, your journey means more than your title in the end, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I think too, man. Congrats, man.
Yeah, thank you. I still got more to do though. I need to get that black belt world title. It's not easy. I respect you so much for that because it's so difficult to even win it once. And I feel like the biggest problem is that like there's so many people. You know, for me, what hurt me is that like I remember 2 years ago, a kid from Lloyd Irving's Jameel Taylor, he won worlds. And I had beat him the time before. I beat him a couple of the times, but it's just a matter of like it being your day, you know. I don't know. It's a struggle for me because like I could say I've beaten everyone on a certain day, but it hasn't happened at Worlds. Is there any piece of advice I can get for like being able to kind of channel that for the right day at Worlds? I don't know if you.
But you know, Jan, I'm gonna tell you, I start about me. You know, let's say if I can explain what I want, but you know, when I just decided to live, you know, and fighting jiu-jitsu and teach jiu-jitsu, I was blue belt, and I had a conversation with my dad. And my dad was a guy that, man, he's like a hard worker too, you know. And when I told him, you know, hey, dad, I just want to do jiu-jitsu for the rest of my life. He told me, oh, that's what you like to do? I said, yes, dad, it is. He told me, man, I'm gonna support you no matter what, but you have to promise that you're gonna be the best, you know. And I said, dad, I will be the best. And that time, you know, I thought, you know, to be the best is the best guy in the gym, is the best fighter in the world. And man, I did it, you know, like a really nice. I'm proud with about all the title that I got. But when I lost to Leandro Lo, almost after 3 years, you know, competing like every single every weekend. And then I lost to Leandro. When I came back to São Paulo, I was like, you know, thinking about that conversation. And then I just took my car, went to São Carlos, and I said, Dad, I just want to say sorry for you because I promised you I should be the best, you know, in the world. I promised to you, but man, I couldn't do it. I lost, but I promised it's not gonna happen again. And my dad told me, Michael, I think you didn't understand our first conversation. When I told you to be the best, it's not the best fighter in the world, you know, the best, you know, student. When I told you to be the best, is your best version. You know, you have to be better today than you were yesterday. You have to be better tomorrow than you are today. You know, if you do it, if you give your best, you know, even when your best is not enough, we can go to your home, take a nap as a man. You can look to the mirror as a man. You know, so man, after this conversation, you know, the second conversation with my dad, you know, I was like, of course, the competition was like a really important to me, but I'm proud. It's not about my title, but about my journey. You know what I mean? Man, I trained really hard. I gave my best. You know, I did everything possible to be my best version in that competition. You know, sometimes I'm gonna win and sometimes not. You know, it's part of the game. You know, life is not easy. But I mean, if you did everything right, man, in the end, you know, you can say to yourself, man, I'm the champion too. You know, and this second conversation just changed my mind a little bit. You know.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's nice to have good motivational dads, right?
Yeah, that.
It's helpful to have for sure. Did you ever feel like, and maybe this is kind of leading towards this as well, where to be best ready for a competition, you wouldn't actually be thinking about the competition, but thinking more about just like improving. So for me, what worked for a while and that I always try to channel is that I try not to think about the results. You know, I try not to think about winning the title or winning this big competition, because sometimes when you know there's so many competitors, it's overwhelming. You know, it's like you have a lot of obstacles to go through. But instead I just try to think about like improving every day, getting a little better each day. And if I can do that, you know, those small increments each day will lead to those good results. What was your kind of like mindset and training? Did you train for the competition, or was it kind of something along those lines, or a blend of both?
Man, I train hard like every day as a competition, you know, man. I
Yeah.
try to do like a flow roll, but man, I'm not able to do it.
Yeah.
So every day, you know, I give my best. If you beat me up in a competition or even in the gym, man, that was my best version. I tried like so hard, and it was me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's the way Cobrinha just taught me. You know, and that's the way that I believe. I mean, I'm not saying that's the only way to do it. Of course, you can go there, you know, like do like a slow roll, but man, for myself, I just go like 100%.
Yeah. So you're always like, would you ever have a balance though, or all around's 100%? Because I'm thinking like, I'll have like for me example, like I'll have a training where it's like, okay, just training with the black belts. You know, I just want to go hard with all the black belts, and then the next session will be like, okay, it's more experimental time. Give myself a chance to kind of go with more purple belts. It sounds like for you though, it was a little different. It was always a competition.
No, always a competition. I think that's the reason I have like a part five surgery. I have to
Maybe.
increase a little bit more, but man, it's part of me, you know. Sometimes I try go slow, but man, if my opponent just get like a one advantage, man, you know, my mind just like a flip, and man,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, so that was an important thing for you going into competition, making sure that you were competition ready by training like it was a competition all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, how did you get through that Worlds with that shoulder? I remember that. I remember that Worlds you were really messed up. What? I mean, how were you able to? We only have a couple minutes, so I don't want to get. We'll end it soon. But like mentally wise, I can imagine even more than physically, mentally, like knowing that you have this issue. Like, how were you able to kind of mentally stay calm? You know, even knowing that you were dealing with something pretty significant.
Yeah, in that competition, I thought, man, my biggest opponent is myself. I had to fight against me. So I got there and I thought, man, a lot of people just train more than me. A lot of people are better than me, but nobody want this as I want. You know, I'm here. You know, I did everything was possible to be here. You know, that's my best version. And then I'm gonna put my best on there. And today my best is gonna be enough. You know, so that's what I thought. You know, it was more like about like a mentally than physically. You know, as I said, man, I couldn't train jiu-jitsu that much. You know, I couldn't do like you know, my game. I mean, you know, I couldn't like even open my elbow that my shoulder just dislocated a little bit. So I thought, man, I just want to put my heart there. You know, for someone just beat me, they just need to kill myself. You know, I think was my best version. I mean, about like a mindset in that competition because it was not easy, but at the same time, man, I proved to myself that man, everything is possible if you work hard, if you believe in yourself. You know, everything is possible. You know, so I just want to say like a thank you God for that day. You know, for that injury, and I could prove to myself that man, I can do like incredible things.
Yeah. That had to have been the most satisfying world title, right? I feel like for me, even like maybe not even have not my best performance that would be the most satisfying, but the one where you're able to grind through something, where you're able to kind of like overcome serious obstacles, and maybe it's not the cleanest tournament, but it's something that you're able to get through. I'd imagine that would be the most satisfying one for sure, right?
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember like I tore my meniscus one time like a week before Pans, and that was at brown belt, and I remember being able to win. I don't think I fought particularly well. It wasn't my best day, but mentally I was just able to kind of like will myself through that and get through that tournament. So when I look back at all the tournaments, maybe I had tournaments where I fought incredibly well, really clean jiu-jitsu. Those don't satisfy me as much. You know, it's the ones where you're able to kind of overcome challenges like that. So that's awesome.
That's true, my friend. That's
Yeah.
true.
Dude, so I want to thank you for doing this. This was a lot of fun talking to you.
Jenny, I just want to say thank you, man, for the opportunity to be here and share a little bit my career with everyone here. I just want to say congratulations on your amazing career, and I'm waiting for you in Brazil, man. So whenever you want, just show up. The doors are open, man. You are my guest in my academy, all right?
Thank you, man. As soon as this all gets back to normal, I'll try to make that happen for sure.
Definitely, man. I will see you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Take care, my friend.
Hey, take it easy, guys. Have a good one.